construction season in this city, we kind of joke, is only 12 months a year. But I guess it's really focused on the fall. That's when a lot of the work gets done, which is hard to believe if you've been here in the summer and saw every street basically under construction one way or another. But no, that was the pretend season. The real season comes in the fall. So
Can't
today...
wait. I can't. It's my favorite season.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I love it. Love fall for that.
So the deal is, Elias had a couple of people on today, one from the Quebec Transport Department, another from the City of Montreal. And I was listening to this and thought, you know what? If you live here, you know this happens every year, right? There are some major projects that need to get done. They wait for the fall because, let me see, they wait for the fall. So this year is no different. So you're going to hear now from a gentleman by the name of Louis-André Bertrand. He's with Transport Quebec, with the agency, talking about some of the work that's being done. Now, if you travel the 40 West, you already know they've started closing that down on weekends for a part of it, right? Then you're dealing with the Ilotort Bridge. So just to prepare you, in case you've not been, if you're not a regular traveler, maybe you just want to go on a weekend and you don't know what's going on, here's what's going to be happening as far as the 40 is concerned. Okay, listen to this.
In October and early September, already we're going to see a decrease in number. But the big sites, the one we've had for 2 weekends now and for 3 more upcoming in Sainte-Anne-de-Bellevue, 40 headed west. On weekends, we're closing the 40 completely at the Chemin des Pins overpass. That has been giving around delays of 60 minutes if you're headed there. So you don't want to take the 40 west on weekends. No. You want to take the 20. But some work had been done this weekend to make sure it was smoother. So we really put some measures in place so it was a smoother. Yeah. The Ilotort Bridge, there's some work being done. We're doing some work on it. And once that's completed, we're going to be able to open a third lane during rush hour. So right now we're at 2 lanes per direction, but we're expecting that there's going to be an announcement in the next upcoming weeks to know when we're going to be able to bring back a third lane. But Ilotort, there's going to be some work on it until the end of that structure, until the new bridge is constructed. Oh. The early work is being done now, but we're not opening before 2026.
Oh, boy.
That again, but they're not opening until 2026.
Just let that hang there for a moment.
2026.
No.
So the good news, a third lane coming up. The way he's seen it, it's going to be a big announcement, I guess, within the next couple of weeks. There will be a third lane because it's been such hell from what we hear trying to drive across the Ilotort Bridge. Mm-hmm. But the work, just a little while longer till at least. How much do you want to bet come 2026? It'll take till 2027.
No, it will never end.
And then finally, for those of you, he said, don't take the 40, take the 20. There is something going on the 20 through the Ville-Saint-Pierre interchange. I'd not heard anything about that until he said this.
We're giving a heads up already on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, we're closing the 20 headed west.
What?
In the Saint-Pierre interchange. So that's going to be a major source of traffic.
What?
Yep.
On Thanksgiving?
Yep, that weekend, because no one travels on Thanksgiving weekend, so that's a good time to close it.
What?
20 West through the Ville-Saint-Pierre interchange. You'll have to take the Montreal-Toronto Highway, whatever we call that thing up there. Saint-Jean,
Is this a joke?
No, that's the real deal. Speaking of is this a joke and construction in these closures, Robert LIBMAN is on the line, architect, building planning consultant, former Equality Party MNA. He talks to us on a semi-regular basis. Robert, I know you wrote about the whole construction issue. I just thought we'd preface your comments today by letting you hear what exactly is going to be going on. And it's nothing but good news, right?
I'm telling you, listening to that, I pulled more hair in my head from what I did this weekend trying to drive up north. I'm telling you, it's and the government announced, as you know, last week this grandiose plan to address road safety, $180 million to make our roads safer. And again, it's like the government is just saying, look, we're doing something. Because of the recent deaths, they announced this big reform, and like people are saying with the health reform and education reform, they just seem to be making these announcements, but they're not even really scratching the surface or addressing the real issues. There's so many problems out there, and if you look at the plan that they unveiled last week, it doesn't even seem to it won't make a difference, I don't think.
No, I have to agree. And the way the plan has been laid out and the things that they're going to tackle specifically, as you criticize in your piece, I'm thinking to myself, they need a campaign. They need a sensitivity for road rage. Like, this is a cause and effect situation.
Well, road rage is provoked. You can't blame it all on the government, but a lot of frustration is out there because of poor coordination of this road work. You prefaced it right now. People are very frustrated. You take a detour and you end up in another detour. Sometimes you end up where you started from. People are frustrated, and it provokes anger and trying to get places much quicker than they should, and that is dangerous. The government also has been very neglectful as far as the quality of our roads and infrastructure is concerned. And you try driving on a highway and you see a pothole in front of you or a crack and you try to avoid it. That itself is extremely dangerous. So, the government didn't address many of these issues in this plan. Nothing about other forms of dangerous driving, cracking down on people who tailgate, people who weave in and out of traffic. Nothing in the plan about distracted driving, people who text and email while they're driving. There's so many aspects of dangerous driving that they didn't even touch on in this plan, and that's extremely frustrating. It makes you wonder if their motivation is just to make it seem as if they're trying to do something when, in fact, they know that they're not going to accomplish anything.
I talked about this a week ago when this plan came out, and I said, just to basically the same point, there's nothing else in here as far as pedestrians go, as far as cyclists go, because we know there is more. We talk about distracted driving. There's simply just more distracted everything when you're out on the roads today, whether it's people looking at their phones, reading text messages while crossing a street, cyclists who basically don't care about any stop signs or lights or anything else, who don't even have lights on when they drive at night. And I'm wondering, Robert, where's the blame for that go? Is that dogma from Projet Montreal because they don't really care? Where's that from? Do we blame the provincial government? Who do you point a finger at?
Oh, I think the Ministry of Transport and cities have to work together. There has to be a coordinated, concerted effort to really educate people about what the reality on the roads are. If you go in any other city, you put your toe on a crosswalk, cars will screech to a halt because legally pedestrians have the right of way. Yet you're taking on a death wish if you wander onto a crosswalk in Montreal. And cyclists also, they clamor for all these rules to make the roads safer for them, but they certainly don't set an example. They fly through every intersection. They don't look. They force accidents as well by swerving in and out. So they have to be educated, and pedestrians, as you say, just meander in the middle of intersections, obsessed with their phones. So there's a lot that has to be done, and I think cities and the government have to crack down. I was hoping that this announcement last week was the first step in that direction, but it certainly doesn't look like that's the case. And another thing is, photo radar is a great tool to sort of curb dangerous driving to some degree, or speeding at least to some degree. I think most people, if they know they're going to get dinged by a ticket, they certainly will slow down. But I think it has to be more sophisticated so people don't just slow down at the point where there's a camera and then speed up afterwards. We've got video cameras all over the place. Transport Quebec along all our highways has video cameras. Why not use those video cameras also to catch dangerous driving, as opposed to just photo radar, which takes a snapshot? I think a lot more thought has to be given to this plan if they want it to have any measure of success at all over the next few years.
So I will point out, I don't know if we discuss this or not, the new photo radar they're considering, from what I understand, that the new high-tech radar will actually avoid that problem of letting you slow down before and speed up, then, of course, afterwards, knowing you're out of the zone, by extending that zone somehow. So they've listened to that, but I was kind of joking at the time, okay, all it'll do is it'll prevent
Extend
you from slowing down earlier. You'll just slow down when you know it's there.
And speed up later.
Yeah, I heard them.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Natasha. I heard them say that too. I'm not sure how that would work.
Yeah.
If it would just, instead of it being a snapshot, would it be over a half a kilometer distance? Who knows? And then what's to stop them afterwards? I think all these video cameras out there, why not use the technology of video cameras on the roads and have those being monitored and prosecute dangerous drivers, tailgaters, driving on the highway. You've got these people weaving in and out of traffic right on your rear end, and it's insane what's out there. And part of it is frustration over the road conditions, frustration over just too many cars on the road, and frustration about always being hamstrung by all these detours and construction zones.
Now, I will say I do like that this plan includes a lot of stuff around school zones. So I think that is huge. And I think photo radar would work well. But I think more than anything, police presence in school zones. Like we have a crosswalk near my daughter's school. No one ever stops ever, like you said, Robert, that it's like it doesn't even exist in this province. So they need an awareness campaign about that, about stopping where you should be stopping and prioritizing pedestrians. And then beyond that, I think a police presence would play a huge role and have a huge deterrent factor.
Yeah, except where do we get them?
Well, that's the thing. If people know they're going to get caught, they won't do it. You've got to have police, you've got to have photo radar, you've got to have the rules implemented. And by just reducing the limits to 30 kilometers, which is the case in most schools to begin with, people aren't going to change their habits unless they get caught.
Yeah.
No question. Robert, we got to let you go. I will ask you to support my initiative, though, if you don't mind, to bring back licenses for bicycles like we had when we were kids, because I think at least that way you have some record of who owns the bikes. If they get involved in an accident, we have some recourse. Why no one's brought this up, why the government's not thinking about this, I don't know, but I think we need to do it.
Yeah, the government has to crack down on pedestrians and cyclists. I did mention that as well, but they can only crack down, you're right, if there's a way to identify them.
Yeah.
And licenses is the first step. Yeah.
Let's do it. Robert LIBMAN, Robert, thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Take care.
Take care.
You too.
There you go. So we're not going to solve anything here, but maybe, just maybe, the government will sit, kind of wake up one day and say, okay, as he said, it's one thing to talk about it, good in theory, bad in execution. It's time to make it good in execution.
They need a huge awareness campaign.
For
Awareness is
everybody.
everything. Yep.